What's up, everybody? Sensei here. Welcome to the show. Welcome to another video. And we are going to dive deep down into this and jump right into it because, I think people get inspiration from others when it comes to making anything. And this video is going to be all my opinion, and this is strictly speculation. But I was just looking at suspension, how far we've come with suspension wheels. And when I started looking, I was like, wow, I found some very interesting things that I would love to share with each and every one of y'all. So let's get to rocking and rolling and dive right into this video. Now, this clip that you're about to see, I saw this video when I started riding back in 2020. It looks like an ACM Godway. I don't know the exact model. But look at the suspension on it, right? It has springs. And if you look at it, this was from like 2018. I think he said the video was like 6 years old, but it looks even older than that. This thing looks like it might be from 2015, 2014, or 2014, 2016, somewhere in there. But you can see the suspension working there. And this is what I love about DIY riders. Man, are out there pushing the industry. Again, I don't know if this is the original video or the original channel it came from, but this is one of the first suspension wheels that I saw. Now we're going to move on to, I know this ride. This is EUC Ryan. I'm subbed to his channel, and he put homemade suspension on an MSX. You see it right there. It's working. And if you look at it, it's kind of reminiscent of the suspension that you just saw in that last clip, and again, I think it's amazing how riders will take and use other ideas and advance it and just make it their own. And I mean that in a good way. This is how we push the industry. This is how the electric unicycle was actually made. Think about it. You had Trevor Blackwell invented the electric unicycle, and then you had Daniel Woods take and advance it again, make just take and run with it. And then you had the inventor of the solo wheel that actually went and helped bring it to where we are today. So EUC Ryan is doing this thing on this MSX with the homemade suspension. You can see it working right there. And I was impressed because I was subbed to his channel, but I forgot that he actually made a suspension for the MSX. Now, I know that he ended up getting an S18, but I'm not sure if he made this before or after he had his S18. It doesn't matter. No, S18 came out in 2020. But man, this is amazing, and hats off to EUC Ryan. I will leave a link in the description below for his channel. Now, I was doing my best Sherlock Holmes impersonation, so I start investigating Begode with their new prototype wheel that'll soon be hitting the market. We all know that to be the Falcon. And I believe with this wheel, Begode was inspired by some other DIY riders to bring this into future production. And again, this is the innards, the anatomy of the Falcon in all its glory, the guts of how it works. I'm going to state one more time, this is my opinion, and this is all speculation. I don't have the Falcon, but we'll let your Awesome's video kind of explain and set up what I'm going to go into next.
So, if you take a look in the back right here, and you come a little bit closer, you can see the suspension inside here. So come on in. On the sides, you can see those little springs. Those springs are actually changeable, and Begode did give me another set of springs.
That suspension spring, to me, looks like a big old pogo stick spring. It does. It has no dampening that I can see of, and if you hit a bump hard enough or go over something, you can get thrown right off of that. Now, here's another picture of that spring. Look at that. Now, they are interchangeable from what Bailey was talking about. But again, there is no dampening on it, and that can make for a pretty pogo sticky feel with suspension. But this is what I love right here. And I believe that the Falcon suspension was inspired by this gentleman's suspension project here, what he did with a V10. And I'm just going to let him explain it a little bit, and I'm going to slide back in a little bit later, but hear what he has to say.
Here you see me riding in the forest, and I gotta admit, I live in the Netherlands, and the Netherlands is one of the most flat countries in the world. So finding a suitable place to ride, which really shows off the suspension, was kind of hard. Also, my experience with driving it is almost zero, because I had it apart in my attic for almost 3 months while I was recreating it. So I found a good place, which is a little bumpy, and I tried to ride over it as fast as I could without falling down. I look like I wear no protection, but I wear a helmet and a motorcycle vest. I only did not have any knee pads, so yeah, that's my own fault. That's why I did a little careful and I wasn't stunting too much. Here on this video, honestly, it's kind of hard to see how the suspension works. I have got some slow motion video at the end, which will show it much better. But still, you have to take my word for it. It's way more comfortable to ride it than without suspension. I did take it out on the open road when I bought it in the very beginning, drove over some bumps, drove over some holes, and then you really feel the impact on your knees. And with the suspension, that's way less. So that's a good thing. Okay, so now let's go to the slow motion videos. I've picked some clips and I slowed them down to 20%, so you can really see the spring in action. What you will see is you will see the system drop down like 2 or 3 centimeters at a time with the bumps I take. I think when you are a daredevil and you will take some bigger jumps, like real airborne jumps, then you might even get to 8 centimeters, which is the maximum it will drop down, according to the specifications of the springs. Alright, this was my video. Thanks for watching, I hope you enjoyed it. I am thinking about putting the STL files for sale on Etsy. I am not really sure how to put the suspension system on there, as you will also need to buy a lot of very specific parts to make everything fit. But I will think about that in the upcoming weeks, so stay tuned.
Here's another shot of the spring off the V10. It reminds me of the spring right off the Falcon. I mean, they're reminiscent of each other. And here's another shot of it right here. Now, I'm not sure how well that this build held up on the V10, but I think it's very innovative on what he did, and man, hats off to him. And I still believe that Begode might have, again, speculation on my behalf, might have used this idea to help them create this suspension or the blueprint for the Falcon. Now, what you're seeing right here is a DIY project of a suspension kit for an A2. I don't know if anyone bought this kit or even if it was for sale to go in an A2, but I keep saying it, this is my speculation, in my opinion. Maybe these two ideas, that V10F and this A2 suspension kit, gave Begode some inspiration to make the Falcon the way they did as far as with that suspension. I could be wrong, but again, people will use other people's ideas to inspire them to create something and help move things forward. I was actually curious to see if anybody had purchased this kit and put it on. I really wanted to see like a review on it, but I didn't. So I can only go off speculation, and you can see this thing just working. It's working. I don't know if there's dampening on it. It doesn't look like it. It looks kind of like, I hate to say it, like it's a little pogo sticky a little bit, but it's getting the job done. It's there to knock the edge off the ride, to smooth it out a bit. But again, impressive. And as I said from the beginning of the video, DIY riders taking and pushing the industry forward. Wow, really like stuff like this. And one thing I'm going to say about Begode, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree when it comes to how they design their wheels. If you go with the MSX, the MSP, the M Super, and the RS19, even the Monster, they all are reminiscent of each other. The design doesn't change much. And look here, same thing. The Falcon, the A2, and the M10-4, and it's not on the list, but even the M10 Mini, they all look almost, I don't want to say the same, but they all hold those lines. Look at it. They're all reminiscent of each other. They don't change very much. And that's one thing that I say about Begode. When they get a design, they will run with it. Again, this is my speculation and my opinion. But hey man, I want to thank each and every one of y'all for joining me. Remember, you get on your wheel. You ride it like you hate it. You be safe out there, but you ride it like you hate it. I'm Sensei. Hello. Good night.